glowing sword, a liquid body, and a gun that turns enemy limbs into optional accessories. Today, we're breaking down every weapon and special move that made RX the walking definition of overpowered but stylish. This is your full tour of RX's legendary arsenal. Buckle up, these moves hit harder than the Crisis Empire's weekly therapy bills. RX Kingstone Flash. Upgraded version of Black's classic move. Firing a blast of Kingstone energy straight from the Sunriser to dazzle, disrupt, or shatter enemy illusions. Just like Black's, but now with twice the power, RX uses it as both a weapon and a warning. However, the fight with Get-All-Rightal, instead of getting blinded, it basically treated the Kingstone energy like a free lunch. Macro Eye. Basically Black's multi-eye after hitting the gym. Now it's rocking infrared superpowers. RX can peek through walls, track heat signatures, and even see what's happening inside an enemy's body. RX Punch takes Black's original punch and turns the dial way past safe limits. Triple the power, and a speed listed as 1/3, which Tokusatsu physics translates to, don't blink. Most of the time, RX even pairs it with an RX jump, launching himself into the air before driving the punch straight into his enemies. It hits so hard that Spingray literally had to create a barrier just to avoid getting folded on the spot. RX Throw. It's a technique where he grabs an enemy and hurls them over 100 meters, like he's tossing out yesterday's laundry. He sends the enemy flying so far, they might need to update their mailing address. RX Chop, basically the upgraded, protein-packed version of Black's original Chop. RX slaps harder, faster, and with less patience than ever. RX Kick, more than 3 times stronger than Black's Rider Kick. The friction in midair makes both feet light up because he's striking with both of them. Add the hybrid energy inside his body, blasting out on impact, and you've basically got a kick that feels like getting hit by a flying power plant. Combining it with RX Jump, throwing in back somersaults, twisting midair, or even delivering the kick while holding the Revolcane like he's pulling off an air combo. And even when the toes don't glow, or he skips the fancy spins, RX almost always goes for a double-footed strike, because doing things normally just isn't his style. Even if it doesn't end fights, it ends villain confidence in general. When RX takes to the sky, the air itself starts panicking. Friction? Yeah, that's why his both feet light up. Because he's delivering a 2-footed meteor strike straight to the enemy's hopes and dreams. So when RX comes flying down with the RX Kick, remember this important safety message. Please stand clear of the landing zone, unless you're a Crisis Grunt. In that case, good luck. Even when there's no glow, no twist, no dramatic flip, he still kicks with both feet. Why? Because normal kicks are for people who don't transform in sunlight. Now presenting a 4-rider kick combo so rare, even the monsters had to pause and ask for a replay. RX Jump, the launch sequence that starts every battle, ignition for every move and finisher that's about to follow. Right after roll call, RX springs into action, sometimes soaring up to 60 meters in the air like gravity owes him money. Every aerial maneuver, every spinning RX kick, every mid-air punch drop, and even those dramatic Revolcrash moments begin with this jump. Without it, well, let's just say, chaos loses its flair. He taps the ground, both feet close together, then launches, up to 60 meters of pure, gravity-defying, villain-disrespecting power. Wrist Bit. RX's all-purpose wrist communicator that makes all his rides come running like loyal metal steeds. And each of his forms gets its own stylish wrist bit design. It can transform the Acrobatter into the Roboizer or Mac Jabber whenever the situation demands a little more horsepower with attitude. Solar Radar, RX's upgraded antenna system. These antennas can track enemies far away with pinpoint accuracy. When paired with the Psycho indicator lamp on his forehead, RX can scan radio signals, trace sound waves, detect water sources, and even pinpoint epicenters. Alright, time to break out the heavy gear. Let's check out Robo Rider's weapons and attacks. Robo Punch clocking in at 1.2 times more powerful than RX Punch. In Robo Rider form, he usually throws punches alternating between both fists, like a walking pile driver, and when the situation calls for it, he'll slam in with both fists at once just to end the discussion. To make things even worse for the enemy, Robo Rider can absorb flame energy to further boost his punching power, so fire-based attacks don't stop him, they just give him extra motivation. The Vortech Shooter is Robo Rider's signature weapon, literally forged on the spot from the right side of his thigh. By channeling his hybrid energy of light and flame straight from his body, Robo Rider condenses it into dense particles of hard light energy, turning the shooter into a handheld problem solver. Vortech Shooter isn't for warning shots or crowd control. It's used exclusively to inflict heavy damage. One blast is often enough to cripple monsters, shatter armor, or straight up remove even their strongest limbs from the equation. And this thing is flexible. With a simple button on the grip, Robo Rider can adjust the rate of fire, intensity, and even the type of solar energy being fired. Hard Shot, Robo Rider's dedicated finishing move, firing destructive light bullets straight from the Vortech Shooter to decisively end the fight. Each shot hits like a solid chunk of condensed sunlight with bad intentions. The move is especially effective against Kaima robot-type monsters, punching through mechanical armor and shutting them down fast. Now we switch to Bio Rider, the form that slips through attacks and turns the fight into liquid chaos. Liquefaction. Bio Rider's greatest feature is liquefaction, the ability to turn his bioform's somatic tissues into a liquid or gelatinous state on command. In this form, physical attacks become more of a suggestion than a threat. Punches pass through, restraints lose their grip, and narrow gaps suddenly become open doors. Liquefaction lets Bio Rider evade attacks, escape traps, infiltrate tight spaces, and even flow right out of enemy holds. And it gets better. Bio Rider can fly freely while liquefied, and the shift between solid, liquid, and gel happens instantly, even straight from RX or Robo Rider form. In some cases, he doesn't even bother fully transforming, the body just melts anyway. Bio Attack, an offensive technique built around his liquefaction ability. By turning his body into a liquid state, Bio Rider rush into enemies and strike fast, reforming before they even realize what hit them. This move is most effective against armorless enemies, where there's nothing to block or contain the attack. Against exposed targets, Bio Attack is fast, direct, and ruthless. No armor means Bio Rider sends his regards. Directly. Cell Fusion. In the fight against Balumbalun, RX uses Cell Fusion only once. With the full consent of professional boxer Sawada, RX breaks his body down to the cellular level and merges with him. The fusion boosts Sawada's natural fighting skills to superhuman levels, allowing him to battle an enemy no normal human could face alone. This wasn't control or possession, it was cooperation. A rare power, used responsibly, and only because Sawada chose to fight. Bio Blade. Bio Rider mostly fights with the Bio Blade, a sword formed from his left side. It's sharp, versatile, and can even liquefy with him in liquid form. When it comes to close combat, this is his go-to weapon, slicing through foes with precision and style. It can absorb enemy attacks and send them right back, turning their own power into an instant headache. Spark Cutter. The crown jewel of the Bio Blade, Spark Cutter, is a one-button, one-blow wonder. Hit the handle button. The Bio Blade unleashes a blazing arc of light that supercharges its sharpness. One slash, and enemies don't just get hit, they get sliced, and reminded why messing with Bio Rider was a very bad idea. It's flashy, it's precise. The Spark Cutter turns the battlefield into a highlight reel of pure style and pain, leaving villains wondering how a glowing sword just made them question all their life choices. Spark Cutter can slash through multiple enemies, one after another, in a dazzling display of precision and power. The Photon Sword Revolcane is RX's ultimate weapon, drawn from the left side of his Sunriser belt, with a flourish that instantly tells everyone the battle just got serious. The sword glows brilliantly when pulled out, a visual warning that RX is ready to take control. Its very presence exudes power, precision, and hero-level authority, enough to make any villain think twice before taking another swing. The Revolcane isn't just a weapon. It's the classic, iconic symbol of RX's strength, a shining reminder that when it comes out, the hero means business. And then comes that moment. RX is riding Acrobatter. He calmly reaches for the Sunriser and pulls out the Revolcane mid-ride. The sword lights up, the bike keeps moving, and suddenly the fight feels already decided. It's smooth. It's iconic, and it's the universal hero signal for, I'm done chasing, you're done running. Now, let's watch another round of RX's classic, epic Revolcane summoning pose, because one time is never enough. I tried my best to include every pullout from the whole season. If your favorite one's here, we just unlocked a core memory. Alright, Crisis Goons. You're done. Revolcrash! RX's most powerful and most frequently used finishing move. The ultimate full stop at the end of a fight. And every single time it happens, you feel it. RX drives the Revolcane straight into the enemy, injecting massive amounts of hybrid energy directly into their body. And at that moment, you already know. This is it. What follows is anything but subtle. Energy starts building. Sparks explode from the impact point, like watching a New Year firecrackers, and the countdown begins. This is the part where longtime fans lean forward, kids freeze in place, and everyone silently counts the seconds, because we've seen this before, and we love it every time. And right before the thrust, there's always that brief moment where the monster still thinks survival is an option. Maybe they try to dodge, maybe they desperately try to disrupt RX, throwing out last-second attacks like waving a white flag made of bad decisions. But it's far too late for redemption. The Revolcane is coming like destiny itself, Inevitable, unavoidable, and already decided. RX has plenty of ways to deliver it. Sometimes it's a high-speed dive from the sky, sometimes a full-throttle charge on Acrobatter, and sometimes he just throws the Revolcane across the battlefield to pierce a distant target, because walking over is optional, and style points matter. These variations make every Revolcrash feel fresh, exciting, and completely unpredictable, like a fireworks show where the explosions are also punching you in the face. No two thrusts are ever the same, and that's exactly why fans can't get enough. The moment the enemies see RX holding the glowing Revolcane, pure terror sets in. They flail, panic, and desperately try to escape, because in that instant, they realize their plan has already failed, and there's no chance for a retrial, appeal form, or do-over. Some wildly try to dodge, some wave useless weapons, and some even choose another way to die. Because when RX shows up with that sword, you just know it's over. And this is the point where everything completely falls apart. The monster's yelling, RX is glowing, sparks are popping off like popcorn, and nobody on screen actually knows what's happening anymore. There were still monsters struggling for their lives. You see them throwing out random, completely useless attacks, firing wildly in every direction like maybe chaos itself will save them. Gata's own turning himself into a time bomb, only for his head to casually detach and float away from his own ticking body like, yeah, I'm not staying for this part. At that point, it's not even strategy anymore. It's panic in physical form. RX hasn't even flinched. The Revolcane is still glowing, and Destiny is already doing paperwork. And now, the part I've been waiting for. Time to imitate the move and pretend I know what I'm doing. The victory pose. The aura gesture to the air. Of course, RX is writing it to himself. We see a mirrored, inverted R with some questionable handwriting. But who's checking when the explosion's already scheduled? The monster's fate is sealed, the blast is scheduled, and RX is already turning away before the explosion. And boom, another villain career ended. Another Revolcrash logged. Another reason this move never, ever gets old. Even the commanders start scattering, like people who just sent a text to the wrong group chat and then deleted for me only when they saw that pose. Panic spreads faster than hybrid energy in RX's veins. RX is calm. RX is ready. RX is already stepping back. The R is drawn. The countdown is inevitable. It's a full season of Revolcrash perfection. And every single one feels fresh, chaotic, and totally satisfying. The timing, the energy, the drama, it's everything you love about RX in one unstoppable move. Sparks fly, hybrid energy surges, and somewhere, a fan is leaning forward, screaming internally, "Yes! Again!" And here we go. Every single villain who dared face the Revolcane throughout the season. Sparks everywhere, and boom, career over before lunch. Every single villain this season, gone in style. And chaos is mandatory. Keep your eyes on the sparks. Look at the energy. Every single pull is fresh. Every swing is a spectacle. And another villain career terminated. And another. And another. And another. And another. And that's another one down. This is Revolcrash. pure, chaotic, hybrid-powered justice. Every enemy, every style, every single move. The season belongs to RX and the Revolcane. And on rare occasions, RX skips the slow motion entirely and throws out the R pose at real-time speed, like he's got somewhere else to be. No slow-mo, no build-up. Just confidence, muscle memory, and an explosion right on cue. I don't know about you, but as a longtime fan, those explosions are the real reward. Especially during boss fights. These weapons and abilities still hit hard for me today. They're not just attacks, they're events. The kind I waited for every episode. The kind that made me lean forward, stop blinking, and mentally tell the monster, it's not looking good for you. Next up, RX's epic henshin poses and roll calls. Every form. Don't act like you've never tried this in front of the mirror when no one's watching. I'm not the only one, right?